Hi, my name is Leo Edwards. I'm here today to discuss my second challenge assessment. The assessment is about real-world situations and using our minds to think of solutions. The picture in front of you is a wall. This wall is made of 2 steel rods, 2 steel plates, and insulation in the center. In the following presentation, I will discuss the wall, and I will change 3 parameters of this wall and discuss the effects of it individually. I also want to touch on some real-world implications of changing insulation and the energy crisis. Now I'll discuss the original problem. For the calculations of the original problem, I got Q equal to 491.42, which is heat transfer. I feel like this is reasonable. For the resistance, I got 0.6 kilowatt hours. For temperature, we had a temperature difference of 0 and 22 degrees Celsius. So I picked T1 equal to 0 degrees Celsius, T4 equal to 22 degrees Celsius. T2 and T3, I believe, make sense. As you can see, I drew the resistance network. At each end of a resistor, that is the temperature. We have 3 resistors in parallel, and then we would have 3 resistors in series once you combine them in parallel. I also plotted temperature versus position. As you can see, in this situation, T1 and T2 are very similar, and T3 and T4 are very similar. So, for some background, like what's going on. Energy is not available as it was previously. This could be because of the sanctions in Russia, or many other things. Prices of energy have only increased throughout the past years. The IEA says that if we want to save money, we should improve our insulation. This cannot always be a solution for some people. We need to create a better solution and a more affordable solution so that people can afford electricity and heat in their homes. If they're able to keep heat in their homes, it could be dangerous. To better understand how changing things in the wall can affect heat transfer and resistance, I decided to change 3 parameters, or set 3 parameters. I also plotted the temperature versus position so that we can see the temperature change at each point in the wall. The first parameter that I decided to change was the insulation. I changed the insulation completely to concrete instead of a typical run-of-the-mill insulation that you would see. I thought this would be good because sometimes walls are made out of brick. So when I changed it, I got the heat transfer calculated to be 2,849.58 watts, the resistance to be 0.1035 kilowatts. This does not make any sense. There is no reason to change it all to concrete because the heat transfer would only go up and you would be getting rid of heat way more than you would want. Switching to parameter 2, I kept the insulation normal and changed the steel plates to brick. This was by far the best change that I made. Steel plates were changed to brick, so that made my heat transfer go down to 64.7 watts and my resistance go up to 4.56 Kelvin watts. I thought this was an incredible change, and it also changed the temperature at each point in the wall much more. For parameter 3, I decided to change the temperature difference. I decided to make the temperature difference 50 degrees Celsius, which is quite big. And as you can see, the heat transfer was 538.6, and my resistance stayed the same as previously. This was surprising to me. I thought the heat transfer would change much more, but in reality it did not. In conclusion, I think there are many improvements to be made. The parameter that I thought was the best was parameter 2, but this cannot always be the case in reality. Some other things that you could change in a house that would be awesome would be double-paned windows. Double-paned windows are going to be much better than single-paned windows because they have a larger resistance network compared to just a single-paned window. A double-paned window would have 3 resistors instead of 1 resistor. Quad windows, GSA 2022, is making quad windows. It's crazy. So this means that you will be able to decrease your heat transfer and increase your resistance, making more paned windows better. But as a drawback to this, it also greatly increases your price, not always being the best solution. So some other things that you could do in a household, as I proved earlier, would be changing the insulation. Some of the more affordable situations that people could use is to do-it-yourself insulation. This may not always be the best situation, but it is also the most affordable. Blanket bats can be made from natural fibers, as I found in Energy 2023. I thought this was very interesting because it didn't only offer that you could do it yourself, but it also laid out a situation where a professional contractor could come in and do spray foam. Some drawbacks to doing it yourself could be that it could be installed wrong, or you might need contractors or special tools. The natural fiber situation and blanket bats are the do-it-yourself option, and they could be the most affordable for people who may not have the most money. Here are my sources.